we're going to talk about blood, people. We have still Ginger here. So
Take
Ginger
me to
Bailey,
your bleeder.
and me to your bleeder. All right, so that's hilarious. And we have Eric from the other side who's going to help us with this topic. Ginger Bailey, you can find her information on the screen and down below in the description box. And you can find all the pertinent links to Atlantic
Yeah.
Scanner, our YouTube channel, channeling Eric, etc. All right, so blood. All right, blood types are classified based on the presence or absence of certain proteins called antigens on the surface of red blood cells. There are four main types, people. The A, B, O blood groups are A, containing A antigens, B, B antigens, AB, containing both A and B, and O, containing nothing, neither. There's also RH factor. You can be RH positive or
Positive.
negative. If you have the RH factor protein, then of course you're RH positive. Now the combination, we know that there's, I won't go through that, but all right. The blood types diet recommends specific food groups and restrictions for each blood type. Is there anything to that? Like, for example, type A, primarily vegetarian, focusing on fruits, vegetables, and whole grains. Type B, omnivorous, including lean meats, dairy, and seafood. Type AB, a mix of type A and B foods, an emphasis on seafood and dairy. Type O, a hunter-gatherer diet, high in protein and low in grain and dairy.
Yeah.
Is this
He's
something
saying
like that?
what Eric's saying is there maybe a little bit, but not enough to, he says it's not enough. It's not enough information. You can't just go by your blood type. You have to go by other factors in your body, genetics. You have to go by allergies. You have to
Yeah.
go by, actions and reactions of foods to you. He's saying that it is a lot more than just that.
Okay.
But what he does say is that people with type O over the others are usually not that
Superior.
the,
Yes.
yeah.
I'm kidding.
I know I'm O negative.
Oh,
but
wow.
he's what he's saying is nobody's superior, and there's none that are like, no single one is healthier blood type than the other. But he talks about how, they're obviously universal donors. They're usually the healthier, like the less risk. There's less risk of like heart disease. I'm asking them why, because they don't really know why, like in study, like why, but it has something to do with the way the cells reproduce.
Oh, interesting.
Like the way they reproduce and split, the way they reproduce and split, they're stronger. Like there's a stronger or more of a strength around the
What?
cells
With O negative?
with O. No,
Oh, in
O,
general.
just O in general, just O in general.
Okay.
Um, Yeah, he's saying there's a lower risk of blood clots with O, just a few things. But there's also pluses with the other blood types too, but they are separated out like that.
Yeah, AB is the universal recipient, right? They can receive
Yes,
any. And O negative is the universal donor.
donor. Yeah,
All
yeah,
right. So
yeah.
why are we born with different blood types? Is there a spiritual reason, for example?
He's saying this goes all the way back to when, because there were different sets of cavemen. I
Okay.
guess I'm just
Yeah.
going to use that cavemen.
Okay,
Um,
people. Okay,
yeah,
persons.
cave persons. There you go, cave persons. And he says that like there are different, it is spiritual, he's showing it spiritual, but there are different DNA combinations or something that we, it is true, he's saying that aliens helped us with our evolution, so it has something to do with that. So it's what alien race, it kind of like marks you,
Contributed. Yeah.
contributed to the DNA to your evolution, is how
Okay,
he's
so like
showing it.
one alien race contributed to the development of O positive and another to AB. Okay.
Yeah,
I
what
teach
he
that.
just said gave me kind of chills. He said that like these alien races don't have different blood types. Like say you have an alien race, it's all A, alien race, it's all B, that kind of thing.
Okay.
And we will eventually evolve that way, but this was just because we're still in the middle, kind of, and they're all further forward in their
Oh,
evolution.
yes,
Does that make
of
sense?
course, of course.
Um, But there is spiritual reasons too, because you do have different things that happen. I mean, people with the O, what is it? Because I had to have that. If you mix the blood, it can be like an autoimmune where it
Oh,
attacks
yeah,
the
right.
baby. There's
Exactly.
just little things that you get with these issues going forward. But we're more forward now with that because we have the medications and we have ways to,
The Rogam, if
yeah,
you're
to stop it or prevent
yeah,
it. Yeah.
right.
But that is why I mean, I think most people know this, but Eric's like, that's why you had to get a blood test when, before you got married and they didn't know,
That's right.
how to
That's
deal
right.
with it. But,
They don't do that anymore, but when you are
no,
pregnant,
no,
they do, obviously, which makes
they did.
sense.
Yeah.
Are we
Yeah. So yeah. So he's saying this just the little things, of just being different because it does kind of mess with your health
yeah,
in a way.
yeah.
Yeah.
Erythroblastosis fetalis is the disease the baby goes through if you're not given Rogam and they're O positive and you're O negative. On
Yeah.
the
The body thinks it's a foreign object and
right, exactly.
fights it off.
Are we susceptible to different diseases or the likelihood of one depending on the blood type? You talked about clotting is less prevalent
Yeah.
in
Um, A, B, and AB are at higher risk, he says, of heart disease than those with type O. So the answer is yes to that. But there are also other things that other like the O's can be more susceptible. Let me see. He says there's also, let's see, higher risk of stomach cancer,
in what?
certain cancers in some of the is this the O, Eric? The O.
Oh boy.
I think the O it was. Yeah, the O. The O. So
What is
it's kind of like it just depends. I mean, it's like he said, there's not one that's healthier than the other. There's just
yeah.
different things that this can cause. And it's just, again, the way the blood cells
Well,
regenerate.
let's go through each of them. What is the A blood type susceptible to? Just one condition. We'll go through all of them.
He's showing me blood clotting,
Okay.
strokes.
Okay.
Yeah,
What
blood
about
clots and
B?
strokes.
What about B?
Uh,
Just one or two.
okay, let's see. He's showing me. Oh, he's showing me something with the blood sugar, something like blood sugar.
Okay.
He showed me
Diabetes?
blood sugar. Now that doesn't mean that O can't get it or A or B. He's just saying you're more
Yeah.
susceptible.
Mhm.
So blood sugar issues. AB, he's showing me
Hormone problem. Oh,
yeah, hormone problems,
interesting.
like thyroid.
Oh, okay.
Um, yeah, and then type O, he's showing me that it could be like higher risks of cancers,
Cancer? Okay. Great.
but again, it's all of them,
Yeah,
but
anybody
yeah,
get it.
yeah,
Just
yeah,
prevalence is
yeah,
a little higher.
yeah, yeah.
Well, is there a spiritual reason for erythroblastosis fetalis, the mother's blood attacking the baby's blood? Is there anything spiritual behind that?
Well, yeah, there is if it happens, he's saying, because losing a baby, there's a lot of growth there. Okay. So it's really like it's just another cause of miscarriage.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So it's the growth that you get in losing your baby,
Oh,
wanting to be pregnant and losing your baby. I know a few
yeah.
people that have gone through this a lot. And it's hard. And I'm getting, he's giving me chills head to toe, but it's heartbreaking. It's that feeling of what did I do wrong?
Loss.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that loss. There's some grief to
Humility.
it.
Humility.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's all the little things that we're all here to grow and learn from. Most things are those basic things, as in self-love and, like you said, humility and compassion,
Yeah.
grief, forgiveness. Thank you, Eric.
Okay.
Forgiveness. Yeah,
All
in
right,
oneself.
A negative. Is that alien blood?
They're all alien blood.
Okay, well, let me say this also. Direct descendants of Cro-Magnon man lived in areas with a high incidence of Rh negative blood, like the Atlas Mountains in Morocco and the Canary Islands. So what's going on there? What's the high incidence of Rh negative? Is that a certain type of alien? Reptilians? RH for R for F for. reptilians? Just kidding.
He's saying yes, it is. It's just the certain type again of where our part of our blood came from, our DNA, our
Okay.
genetics. Yeah,
Is
that
there
it came from is
Anunnaki?
a type of alien.
What type, Eric, or what types? Maybe there are more than one, obviously.
There is. I don't know all the alien types, but he's saying Anunnaki is one that
Okay.
has to do with the RH
Okay, that's good
negative.
enough. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, RH negative, Anunnaki's connected. You know, he's saying that when it comes to reptilians, a lot of people think that the reptilians are all bad,
No,
but they're
no.
not.
Yeah,
They're
the whole
he's
thing on
saying
that.
like, yeah, oh, okay. He's saying that he's just saying let people know they're not all bad. It's just
Yeah.
like any race. They may have a little
Human
bit
race.
more, yeah, like the human race. They may have a little bit more, than some other alien races, because there are alien races that are pure, that are like angelic, that are mostly to help humanity find balance and keep balance in the universe. But they're more of a like human race reptilians are, where
Maybe
there's
they're
a
not
balance.
hadn't had enough time to evolve as the same as the other some of the other races that are more pure.
Yeah, right,
And matter of
right,
evolution.
right.
Okay. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. He said yes to that.
I find the Basque people interesting because the language, for example, linguists just have a hard time figuring it out. There's the only common word is lori, which is bird for means bird in Japanese. So they haven't figured out the origin of the language. Anyway, I'll read this. The Basque people have
Okay.
a high frequency of Rh negative blood, which means their red bloods can lack a certain protein. Rh negative blood. So Basque have a higher percentage of Rh negative blood, variant of Rh, okay, related to the hemolytic disease of the newborn. They also have a higher frequency of type O blood. So I guess they have O negative a lot.
Hmm.
50% of the population having this blood type, but in most of Europe, they don't have O. They have A or B.
A.
Yeah,
Eric just said
A.
A. Yeah.
Yeah. And B, I think is more Middle East. I can't remember. Especially true in remote areas where the Basque language is more widely spoken. So, what is this all about? Let me see if she has any. Um, some scientists have suggested that the high frequency of Rh negative blood in the Basque people is evidence that they are direct descendants of Cro-Magnon man. Cro-Magnon man also lived in areas with higher incidence. We said that in Atlas
Hmm.
Mountains in Morocco and the Canaries. The Basque people are an isolated and unique population in Europe with their own language, Euskara, and cultural and demographic characteristics. They live in the Pyrenees Mountains, which straddle the border of France and Spain. So, what's going on with the Basque people? Are they directly related to aliens more than others?
They're closer. Yes, he says closer to, as in not mixing with other races.
Okay.
So they're more pure within themselves. They stay within themselves. And it keeps their, I guess you could call it, it's not really more pure, but it just stays the same. Like they don't mix, so they're not mixing the blood types.
Okay.
Okay.
That
They
makes
stay
sense.
within their people. And yes, so like say he's showing me like if an alien race comes in and takes this group of, I don't know, what was the name of the cavemen?
Cro-Magnon?
Yeah, well, not Cro-Magnon, but like what was the other one?
Neanderthal?
Yeah, Neanderthal. Like say they take that and then they add their DNA to this group over here and it's an A, right?
Right.
If they just stayed and didn't move forward and breed with others outside of their group, then they're going to be the more pure of
Right.
it and it's going to stay. They're going to be more, say they're all A positive, all right, their H factor. It's all going to stay that way and it's not going to mix because when you mix, it can give you, and I don't know a lot about how even work in the medical field, you don't, if you don't work with it every day, you don't
Oh
always
yeah,
know
yeah.
exactly how it goes. But you know, it there's certain ones that can't mix, he's showing me,
Oh,
or won't combine. That's interesting. He's
interesting.
showing some will overtake the other. Does
Oh,
that make sense? He's
yeah,
showing me
like
like
dominant,
one, yeah,
dominant,
one, yeah, one's more dominant than the other.
and the other's
But they
recessive.
stay. Yeah, he's saying they stay within their group though, and it keeps it more pure,
Okay.
I guess is how he's explaining it.
All right. What about Neanderthal? What kind of blood type did they generally have, or did they generally have?
He shows me the B. He's showing me B.
Okay.
And some, but see, now there's different groups. There's different groups. So not all of them are B. Some are A, B,
Yeah.
because you say you have like 5,000 Neanderthals and you're going to group them off into thousands.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
This
Right.
thousand over here is going to be A. This thousand over here is going to be
Okay.
B.
But most
Yeah.
is B, I guess.
Yeah. He says there's a lot more
Okay.
B in that.
Now we're
Yeah.
going to talk about blood disorders. What is spiritual reason behind blood disorders? Like I had idiopathic thrombocytopenia purpura, ITP, where my body was
Say
attacking
that real
platelets.
fast 5 times.
I know. And I had to have my spleen out. What's the spiritual reason for ITP?
He says, like most spiritual things, when you're having to deal with a health condition, all of the struggle that you deal with the recovery, the process of it, going through it, it's there's not just one. There's not just like one reason for it.
Oh, okay.
Okay, think about what a person goes through when they get sick and they have to have something removed, or if they have to have something worked on. You know,
Yeah.
there's so many things in there that you get spiritually to that you need to overcome, you need to heal. It's hard. There's a lot of people that deal with chronic pain or illness that don't even
Yeah.
want to exist anymore because it's so overwhelming,
It
you
is.
know
Very
so
overwhelming.
yes, it is. And there's just many things you learn in this, many things. You need to hang on, you need to move forward, you need to persevere, so many things.
Perseverance.
So
Yeah.
it's like with anything, it's not just one thing. Like I lost my spleen and this is the reason.
Yeah.
um Something he does say though, that there are sometimes past lives, like if somebody had, like, say, lung problem in another life, they
Yeah.
might get some kind of issue with their lungs in this life.
Cool.
Yeah. So you could have had, he just brought that up. He's like, you could have had, yeah, something going on. He's showing me like a spear through your
Oh.
spleen.
Oh, wow.
He
Okay.
just showed like yeah, he shows
That,
like a spear. So there's many reasons, but there's also like past life things too.
so blood disorders in general, do they have some sort of past life connection, or is it just purely mostly a genetic thing?
Some are past life if they're gonna yeah, some are past life because and mostly genetic, but he says some are past life. Like for instance, the medullary sponge kidney that I deal with. Okay,
Oh, yeah, right.
I
Right.
had a past life reading with somebody, and this had to do with me getting shot in the back
Oh,
with a shotgun, and then it causes all the stones,
oh,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Oh,
so
wow.
there can be past life things, and the blood disorders are actually the things that cause this during the congenital time.
Oh,
So during the forming of the fetus.
I see.
So yeah, but they can also, they're not all past life. He says.
Okay. What about just
Okay.
spiritual reasons for blood disorders?
Right. The spiritual reasons, there's many. He
Got that?
says, you know, I was trying to get. He's showing me that like a toxicity, like there's a toxicity to it, something with toxic, like a toxic, you could
Oh,
like have a toxic feeling, like
oh,
sadness or grief can make your blood toxic.
oh.
So he's showing me emotions can make the
Self-loathing,
blood.
self-loathing. In my
Yes,
case, that
yes.
was probably some of that when I was a kid, because attacking your own body, it seems like that would be connected to feelings of lack of
Yeah,
love.
an autoimmune. So autoimmune, a lot of autoimmune
Right.
disorders come from that. Now, it doesn't mean, he wants to make sure people don't think that they are causing their illnesses, but it's a mixture of things. It's a combination of things, but that is one of the things, is the lower vibration can cause a toxicity effect.
I got you. All right, she's listing a whole bunch of rare blood disorders, which we're not going to go through one, but I'll name them in case people out there have them. Castleman's disease, a buildup of cells in the lymph nodes. Gaucher's disease, a condition where the body can't produce certain enzymes. Hemophagocytic lymphohistiocytosis, a genetic condition that attacks organs like the brain, liver, or bone marrow. Langerhans histiocytosis, buildup of cells that usually help fight infection damaging organs. So they're not really helping with infection. They're just, Now,
Right.
paroxysmal nocturnal hemoglobinuria, a condition where red blood cells break apart and release hemoglobin into the urine. Hemophilia, we know that, a condition where blood doesn't clot properly.
Right. It's lacking
Factor,
in the
yeah.
platelets.
Factor 13 deficiency, a condition where a person lacks enough factor 13, which can lead to clotting problems or spontaneous brain bleeding. Three more. Pernicious anemia, a condition where the body can't absorb enough B12 from the diet, which leads to nerve damage. No, I'm not numbering them. Aplastic anemia, a condition where the bone marrow doesn't produce enough blood cells, can cause by a number of conditions.
That's the immune system.
Yeah, but also you can have toxin
Hormones. Yeah.
chemicals.
Yeah.
Autoimmune hemolytic anemia, condition where the immune system destroys the body's red blood cells. So why would a person come in with or develop rare blood disorders?
The more we struggle, the more we grow. That's how they're saying it. The
That,
more you struggle, the more you grow.
so
Some people don't want to hear that. He says some people don't want to hear that,
signed up
but
for it. We signed up for it. We signed up for
right,
it.
right, exactly. And there's so much. So again, always look and see what you get from this, not what it's like. It's not to you, it's for you. You got to keep that in your mind. He
Right.
says. He repeats that like a broken record. It's not happening to you, it's happening for you. There are so many spiritual things that we get by overcoming these things or chronically having to live with them. They become a part of your life. They become a part of who you are, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And then he was kind of being cute and he goes,
You're
see if I
always
can get
cute.
this right. I know. He goes, so if we had to give a personality to the different parts of the blood, okay, he goes, the white blood cells would be the warrior. He's giving them titles.
True.
And he says the red blood cells would be the deliverer. And he
A
shows like
nurturer.
a
Yeah.
delivery truck. He's showing like a
Oh,
delivery truck. And then he says the platelets would be the first responder.
oh,
Okay.
yeah, makes
Yeah, you know,
sense.
like getting to the cut and
Yeah.
yeah. Let's see what else. Oh, the plasma would be the chill. What is it? The chill flow? What does that mean? Oh, I'm just here keeping the peace. The chill
Oh,
flow. I'm
okay,
just here keeping the
cool.
peace.
Cool.
Because you know how that's the hydration. That's where you stay
Oh, yeah, and
hydrated. The
delivering
plasma,
nutrients and stuff. Yeah.
yeah, and the nutrients, yeah. And then the stem cell would be the undecided genus,
Yeah, I'm
undecided
so
genius.
genius. That's so cute.
Yeah, so they all have their parts. The blood cells all have their little part that they play.
Interesting. That wasn't even
And
mentioned. I'm glad you brought that up. That's fascinating.
yeah, no, he was being cute. He was talking about that earlier, so I was like, okay,
Oh,
okay, I
accepting.
got to tell him that was cute. Um, but he's saying, to people out there that have conditions that are told they're not curable. Okay, there's no
Yeah.
cure. Um, that's not so. That's not
Yeah.
true.
Aplastic anemia is something curable. Pernicious anemia,
Yeah.
autoimmune hemolytic anemia. Some are, but
Yeah, but
like
he's saying like
Gaucher's
if you're
disease.
told, yeah,
Yeah.
if you're told you have something that's not, just know that you have everything within you to heal yourself. Okay, just keep seeking. Just keep
Yeah.
seeking the way to do it because that's part of growth too, you know?
Exactly. The
That's
the
part of
journey
growth.
to
The
self-healing
journey.
or
Yep.
healing, period. So do you think eventually all blood diseases will be cured or curable?
They will be curable. Yes. Of course we have to have population, we can't like people can't live forever and there's reasons
Oh
why
yeah.
some pass early, but he's saying that a lot of things will be cured but then there'll be other things that show up as we evolve
Yeah.
to deal with because the changes that we have, but he's showing that lifespan
Okay.
will
That's
be longer.
maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. It depends on the quality of life if you want a
Well, he's saying that with humans it will get longer, but it does also again depend on the person because we have
yeah.
choices of what we do with our lifestyle.
That's
So,
right. That's
yeah,
right. All right, two more diseases. Benign ethnic neutropenia, a condition characterized by persistently low white blood cells. I see this in my boys. They all have low, Eric and Lucas, low white blood cell counts. They're fine.
Yeah.
specifically
Yeah.
neutrophils, that's most commonly found in individuals of African and Middle Eastern descent. What can people do experiencing this to bring up their white blood cell count? I don't think it matters. It doesn't really cause anything. I mean, at least in my boys, it's not like they had more infections and stuff like that.
Yeah,
So maybe something
as
is done
long
here.
as your immune system is doing the job, okay, then it's not necessary. So he's showing me, he's given an example with white blood cells. So for instance, if the white blood, I mean with the red blood cells, if your red blood cells are not getting enough oxygen, if they're not carrying the oxygen on the surface, then they're going to produce more, right?
Right.
So there's always a reason, like it's if it's needed, your body will make it, I think is what he's saying. Like
Ah, I
if
got
your
you.
body needs something, it's going to make it. If it
More
doesn't need it,
neutrophils.
it's not going to make it. So, and
Yeah.
he says also you have to remember that these tests that they use to determine this and measure this is done on, say, you take 100 people. Well, maybe you're an outlier, of these people. And
Yeah.
it's okay. If it's not causing you a problem, if it's not
Yeah.
broke, don't
And it's
fix it.
not.
Because if it's not broke, don't fix it.
That's
That's
right.
what he just
So
said.
yeah, what about this is not on the list, but phenylketonuria. You know how we test all newborns, little heel stick, and they put the blood on I think 5 different little spots, and they test for
Mm.
phenylketonuria. Um, why is that? Why? I mean,
What is it that they test for?
phenylketonuria, ketonuria. It's a disease where if you eat anything with phenylketones, then
They're
you get
testing their
brain
kidneys.
damage.
The kidneys are one of the last things besides the lungs, like one of the things that develop like towards the end is what they're showing, like the
It's in the
enzymes.
blood. You can't eat a certain amino acid or
Right, but he's
you get
showing me
brain
like the
damage.
kidneys filtering. I don't know, something with
Okay.
the filtration, with the blood and the kidneys filtering has something to do with that, is what he's showing me. Um, they check for that just it's just one of the things on the list, is what he just showed me. It's
Well, it's
just
just
one
so
of the things
important
on the
because
list.
if you
Yeah.
don't, I mean, it's so easy to check for. And if you
Yeah.
don't change the diet of the baby from birth on, then they get brain damage. So it's
Right.
too
He's
easy
showing me,
to check.
huh?
It's too easy to check and too easy to prevent complications.
Right. And he's saying like this is just one of the things on the list that they check for when newborns come in, especially preemie. Do they do this? I don't think they do this with all babies. It's just preemie,
I think they
right?
do
The
on all
premature.
babies now, just
Do
like
they?
for gonorrhea of the, I mean, put the drops in to prevent gonorrhea of the eyes.
Yeah.
Of the eyes
And what he's showing me is this is
and
just
other
one
infections.
of the list of things that they check just for okay, he's like prevention. It's
Okay.
all preventative, and it's part of, again, he's showing me insurance. It's almost like not just what the doctor's list says to do when the
Oh
baby's
yeah.
born, but like insurance. So
Okay.
it's preventative care is what
It
he's
is.
calling it.
And those drops are
Um,
for more than just gonorrhea, by the way. Just it was mostly done for gonorrhea. That's how it was developed, the eye drop.
yeah, yeah. And so there's other things they check for too. He's talking about stem cells too. He's saying that these are a big part of our medical future,
Uh-huh.
talking about. So they are going to be, and they are right now, learning about things like healing, like ways to heal. Um, there's stem cells that come from many, many things, not just the umbilical cord, but it comes from adult stem cells. There's just different ones, but the ones that are the newest, like the umbilical cord ones, he says, are ones that they work with the most,
Okay.
and they are coming up with ways to rejuvenate and regenerate parts of the body that are
In need
that
of
need that
healing.
yeah, in need of it, yeah, in need of
Okay.
healing, yeah, yeah.
Interesting.
So this is going to be a big part of med beds when they come.
Oh, that'd be cool. All right. Now the last one is G6PD, which stands for glucose 6 phosphate dehydrogenase. It's an enzyme really crucial for protecting blood cells from oxidative damage. So it's a genetic disorder. I think it's X-linked. Yeah, it's X-linked, which the body doesn't produce enough of this enzyme. So they have a big risk of red blood cell breakdown uh, under certain conditions. So males who have only one X chromosome are more likely to be affected. Females can be carriers because they have two X's. So anyway, triggers of hemolysis, fava beans, sulfa drugs, antimalarial drugs, aspirin in high doses, NSAIDs, and some antibiotics, infections, certain chemical stress, uh, exposure to mothballs. Anyway, so
Yeah,
what's the thing for this?
again, it's the same. It's the same. They're all health. It's all under the title health, okay? Health problems and what it causes in your human, you know,
Existence.
journey.
Yeah,
Yeah, your human experience. It's all part of the experience. It's overcoming. It's not living in fear. I mean, you can just go and check off all these things that you're supposed to be working on. Not everybody does. Not falling into the victim mode or
yeah,
feeling self-loathing. Having compassion for others. Have you ever met somebody? I'm sure some people out here know this. Met people that have never dealt with anything serious with their health
yeah,
and
really,
how they cannot empathize. Okay, we're going to use the empathy word.
yeah.
They cannot empathize with those who have. And unless you've walked in those shoes, you just can't. And you can tell somebody what a brownie tastes like. This is what he always uses. A brownie tastes like,
Does that?
smells like, looks like, but you can taste like even, but you still don't know until you do it yourself, till you try it yourself.
Right,
You
right.
don't know the true, um, you know, taste and smell and feel of a brownie. So it's the same with anything. So don't judge. It's also supposed to be about judgment. He's talking about like people
Yeah,
learning not to judge.
yeah.
There's just so many things for this, and there's not just one spiritual reason when there's health conditions with
A lot
anything,
of them. Anything, not
blood
just blood
disease, yeah,
disorders. Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, anything. That last one you were talking about, he's showing me like the lack of
An enzyme.
yeah, the enzyme, but it's almost like the the outside the shell of the cell, kind
Red
of,
blood cell?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, like it weakens it, like it's weakened.
Oh,
You
the
know how
lack
you got
of
the cell
hemolysis.
membrane?
Yeah,
Yeah,
no
the cell.
wonder you're
Yeah,
breaking of the blood. So yeah, that
yeah,
makes sense.
yeah,
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 interesting.
yeah, yeah. Weakens.
So anything else you want to share on blood disorders, my love, before we close?
No, he's saying he thinks we covered it all. He's just talking about anybody out there dealing with chronic illness. Find a group of people that you can talk to. Don't isolate yourself. Okay, it's important to talk to others that deal with problems too, because it'll keep you out of that depressed state, because it
Sure.
can get depressing. I know I've been there.
You're not
It's
alone.
not easy. Yeah, you're not alone. And even if there's not, he's coming back with, even if you feel like there's not a way out of it, you find a way through it. You know what I mean? You find a way to live with it. There's
Right.
just so many ways to pull out of that dark place that it can take you to, he says.
I'm hoping
So
gene splicing will correct some of these genetic disorders as well too. Gene splicing, like the CRISPR technique, et cetera. That, and of course, stem cell therapy. I think those are the two things besides the med bed, which will really help. The
yeah,
Arcturians
it will.
treated all diseases by frequency, just increasing the vibrational frequency of the cells.
Yeah, he's showing the sound, like sound therapy that they're
Yeah,
starting, like people do right now. He's showing that it'll get more advanced to where there's certain tones that it's almost like a combination of sound that makes these tones that can actually like change the shape of things. Like it
yeah.
can change the
Change the
shape of a
vibration of the
blood
cells.
cell.
Yeah,
Yeah, yep, yeah. And it's coming. They're working on it. They're working
good.
on it.
Can't have it fast
Yeah,
enough. All right,
yeah, I know.
thank you, Miss Ginger Bailey, who is in the description box below. Thank you so much, and thank you to my lovely son Eric, who's on the other side. I love you both, and you guys
I
hit
love
like
you.
and subscribe. Please subscribe. We're trying to get to 100,000 for whatever reason.
Almost there,
Almost
guys.
pull
Almost there. And
us
get
over the
get your
finish line,
shirts.
please. Get your shirts, yes, for the Channeling Eric documentary, channelingericdoc.com. All right, bye.
Yeah. Bye.